the hidden power of value, silence, and depth in a world obsessed with wanting ***. We live in an age of wanting more money, more love, more recognition, more success. We've built entire industries around wanting. Self-help books that promise secrets to success. YouTube videos telling you how to manifest your dream life. Instagram quotes that tell you to just believe in yourself and everything will happen. And yet, behind this flood of affirmations, something fundamental has been lost. In our obsession with desire, we've forgotten to ask one deeper question. Do I deserve what I want? This isn't about punishment or guilt. It's about alignment. As Charlie Munger once said, the best way to get what you want is to deserve it. And to deserve something truly, you must become the kind of person who would naturally attract it. But how? That question brings us back to a centuries-old code of wisdom, to the path of a lone swordsman, Miyamoto Musashi, who in his final days penned down 21 rules for living, known as the Dakoto, the way of walking alone. One of these principles reads, consider yourself lightly, consider the world deeply. On its surface, it sounds poetic, stoic even, but look closer and you'll find a powerful key. Not just to inner strength, but to external success, relationships, career, love, and personal transformation. In this essay, we'll break open that rule and explore what it really means to consider the world deeply. We'll dive into how this idea reveals a more grounded version of the law of attraction, one built not on magical thinking but on psychological truth. We'll compare it with Jung's ideas of projection and individuation, with Nietzsche's will to power, Marcus Aurelius' stoic action, and Lao Tzu's effortless mastery. And most importantly, we'll make it real, applicable, actionable, because the world doesn't care how many books you've read. It cares who you've become. Let's be honest. You can watch all the motivational videos you want. You can read Think and Grow Rich 20 times. You can write your goals down every morning. But if you don't do the reps, if you don't show up, build skills, create value, nothing will happen. And even worse, sometimes people mistake wanting for progress. They confuse dreaming with doing, visualizing with creating, affirming with becoming. But the universe doesn't bend to the loudest wish. It responds to what is already real. Carl Jung put it this way, you are what you do, not what you say you'll do. To say, I want to be successful is to state a preference. But to wake up early, study the market, build a product, refine your craft, fail 100 times, and keep going, that's not a preference. That's identity. The law of attraction, as it's often taught, misses this. It stays on the surface. Think positively, feel good, and good things will come. But that's not attraction. That's fantasy. Real attraction is this. When you stop chasing what you want and start becoming what the world needs, you stop seeking and start drawing. This is what Musashi meant. Consider yourself lightly. Dissolve your ego. Consider the world deeply. Observe, understand, and serve the needs of the world. When you live that way, the world opens doors for you. Not because you begged, but because you became the one worth inviting in. Musashi, despite being a warrior, was not obsessed with domination. He was obsessed with clarity. He believed that the path of mastery was not about force, but about depth. About understanding the terrain better than your opponent. About seeing reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. That's what consider the world deeply means. To observe the patterns. To study the needs. To sense the flow beneath the noise. This is also echoed in Stoicism, where Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The Stoics taught us that success does not come from demanding things from the world, but from aligning our actions with nature, with what is, and from there, exerting the will to act in accordance with it. Nietzsche, too, spoke of this not in the language of virtue but of becoming. Become who you are, not who you think you are, but who you would be if you stripped away all social expectations, all ego, all masks. The point? You don't get what you want. You get what you are. So stop asking, what do I want? Start asking, who do I need to become? What is the world lacking? What does the market need? What would make me irresistible? Not by charm, but by service. This is the death of victimhood and the birth of power. Let's make this practical. Imagine two students applying for a job at a prestigious firm. Candidate sends 200 applications, writes generic cover letters, memorizes answers to common questions. He's nervous in the interview and says something like, "Thank you so much for the opportunity. I promise if you give me a chance, I'll work really hard." He thinks the company is the prize he's chasing. Candidate B, however, takes a different path. He studies the firm. He learns about industry trends, identifies potential challenges they might be facing, and even brainstorms a few solutions. He doesn't send 200 applications. He shows up to one networking event. At that event, he approaches a company executive and asks, "In your experience, what are the biggest challenges your firm is facing in this new market shift?" The executive responds. The candidate nods, thinks for a moment, and says, "That's fascinating. I've been studying similar trends and noticed X. One potential approach could be Y, which may lead to Z. What's your take?" Now something changes. The executive leans in. They talk for 15 minutes. It's not a job pitch. It's a strategy session. The candidate is not asking for a seat at the table. He's already contributing to the table. At the end, the executive says, "We're hiring soon. Send me your resume. I'd like to bring you in." Boom. From chase to attraction. And when the interview comes and they ask him, "Why do you want to work here?" he replies, "Because executive name asked me to apply. I'm here to find out whether your company is the right fit for me as much as I am for you." This is not arrogance. It's balance. This is not ego. It's self-possession. And most importantly, it's earned. Because he didn't beg. He became valuable. And then made that value visible. Everything we've said boils down to two things. 1. Become valuable. 2. Be perceived as valuable. Without the first, you're a fraud. Without the second, you're invisible. Many people fall into one trap or the other. They either pretend to be valuable, talking big but lacking substance. Or they are valuable but no one knows because they hide behind humility or fear. The first needs growth. The second needs courage. Carl Jung might say, "The first is still consumed by persona, the mask of greatness. The second is shackled by shadow, fear of being seen, fear of claiming power." Integration means this. You become who you really are unapologetically and show it. When you do, you don't chase people. People chase clarity. They chase vision. They chase competence. They chase certainty. Laozi, an Eastern philosopher, once said, "The best leaders are those the people barely know exist. When their work is done, the people say, 'We did it ourselves.' This is the art of influence without force." Lao Tzu speaks to the truth that real impact is often quiet. It moves beneath the surface, not above it. It doesn't scream, "Look at me." It whispers, "Look what I've made possible." That's what happens when you stop focusing on what you can get and start focusing on what you can give. When you consider the world deeply, you start to see where your strengths fit, where your passions align with problems, where your silence speaks louder than noise. You stop throwing hooks into the ocean, and you start becoming the current. Stop hunting. Start building. Build yourself until the world can't ignore you. Build solutions until people come to you. Build wisdom until your silence has weight. Become the man or woman you would chase, and then stop chasing altogether. Musashi, Jung, Marcus, Nietzsche, Lao Tzu. They all knew one truth in different words. You don't get what you want. You get who you are. So stop wanting. Start becoming. Start observing the world not with lust, but with depth. And when you become the one who solves real problems, who offers real insight, who builds real strength, you'll find yourself surrounded by opportunities you never had to chase. Because now, you are the prize. Thank you for accompanying. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below so we can discuss. Wish you and your family good health.